In today's unboxing, we take a look at Dark Side of the Moon. It is the third Mythos pack for the Dream Eaters campaign for the Arkham Horror, the card game. Let's take a look.
There are hobbyists among us, geniuses with the ability to play any game they want to. In 1978, a corporation known as The Interior isolated a young hobbyist named John and exploited his genius for their entertainment.
Then one day, their hobbyist ran away. Here we have Dark Side of the Moon, the third Mythos pack for the Dream Eaters campaign for Arkham Horror, the card game. It comes in your very standard clam shell pack that we are all used to by this point. Dark Side of the Moon contains Scenario 3A of the Dream Eaters campaign. This pack contains 60 fixed cards with new player cards designed to augment the existing decks in a new scenario that can be played either in standalone mode or as part of the Dream Eaters campaign. Contains cards 195 through 233 of the Dream Eaters campaign, the Arkham Horror LCG core set, and the Dream Eaters Deluxe expansion are required to play. Once again, as with all of these Mythos packs, it can be played, as it mentioned here, in those two modes. Standalone, you can just pull this out, grab the investors you want, and just play this as a solo scenario. Or you can play it as part of the campaign, like it mentioned, as the third, as for the A line, third scenario here within Dream Eaters. Once again, just to remind everybody, within the Dream Eaters, they have split everything up into an A and B. So basically, every odd number is going to be here within the A line, and the evens are for B. So the one prior to this wasn't Pack 2, but it was actually Pack 1. The one prior to that was, of course, in the Dream Eaters, Dream Eaters Deluxe back. Once again, like with all of those, you can see the scanner right here, so you can at any point scan that and go and actually look at all the cards. Therefore, I don't have a problem with showing them all to you. There are plenty of resources online, plenty of card databases online that you can see all the cards, or just by scanning that yourself. However, I will have a little intermission where I will first show everybody the player cards. These are the ones that you will be adding to all of your other player cards to help increase your deck building cards. But then everything else will be separated again with a short little intermission. So if you want to stay spoiler free, you absolutely can. It is recommended for ages 14 plus for 1 to 4 players with a 1 to 2 hour normal running time. Well, let's go ahead and crack this open and see what we have inside. Now, I of course have not seen any of this, so I don't know how far into the rules it'll go for spoilers. So of course I will open it up real quick, but then keep the spoilers portion of it, as much under wraps as I can. As always, we of course have just that little back little bit for the rules, which we just saw. The deck of cards, the top being one of our character cards. So again, I don't have a problem showing that here. And we have our iconic blue dot to let us know that yes, this is the English pack. Then all of our instructions are within the little flap here. And it is what is becoming very standard for these Mythos, this open double side, double tier little instruction booklet that we will open up and then fold out to make the full page. Again, I will do that here off to the side real quick to make sure I don't spoil anything, and then show as much as I can here in the spoiler-free portion of the unboxing, so you can get an idea of what Dark Side of the Moon has. Here we have the rulebook. It, of course, immediately goes into if you're playing the scenario, setting it up, what to check for from previous ones, and then, of course, our standalone mode right there off the rip. Let's try to tilt this a little bit so we can't get rid of some of that glare. Unfortunately, so I'll have to do a little manipulation here in a second. Once you flip it over, half of this sheet is continuation of these rules for anybody, and then the next half is when it says don't read any further until you're ready, get into that whole spoiler section. This is one of those ones with the way they do these rules here makes it a little difficult. I wish they would do it a little different, maybe not as large as sheets, something so we can try to keep the spoilers maybe on its own page, so you really have to flip a page to get to that spoiler, so it's not right there, so you don't accidentally see things you don't want to. Well, let me go ahead and rearrange this really quick. There we go. So I can show the rest of the rules and the setup for this scenario. And one thing to take note that one of the things that they have added, and let's get in a little closer here. There we go. Is an alarm level is one of the new mechanics that they have added. Now with this alarm level, let me see if It's weird with this one because they're telling you to put doom tokens on your people to show their alarm. And it goes on. But of course, the doom tokens, you're using those for lots of things. And I understand why they're saying doom tokens, because they are expecting you to really only have the core box. And they're limited to all the tokens there within the core and within the expansions and what have you. Nothing outside of the game. So they're saying, so one of the best ones, their best option of what they have to choose from is those doom tokens. However, when I play, I will definitely use something other than a doom token. Maybe like a die for them that I can tick the numbers over. Something different. The other thing that is weird about these alarm level, looking over this, is that as your alarm goes up, things get worse for your investigators. Which to me seems a little backwards. You would think the more alarmed you get, the more focused you would get on the situation at hand and be ever more vigilant. But they've kind of gone the opposite way. So alarm level might not be the best terminology for this, but it is a nice little new mechanism that they have added in with this Mythos pack. So up next we have our player cards. Like all the rest of the player cards in the game, they have this common standard back. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. And as you can see, we are getting somewhere I got mixed up. No, looks like there are actually 3 of that one. 2 of everything else. Very interesting. And then the one new treachery weakness card for the deck. Well, that is everything for my spoiler-free unboxing of Dark Side of the Moon. Now, you will notice I have 2 cards under here. There were 2 things that I noticed, and I will talk about those during the intermission here to give people a chance to break away if they do not want to see the other cards. But it might be something of notice here. See, this part you might want to pay a little bit of attention to. And that was that with these 2, you can notice that with the new 35 Winchester, we have 5 ammo. Well, if we look at the card text, it says, fight. You get +2 for this attack. If a +1, yada, yada, yada. But nothing in here says use 1 ammo, like all of the rest of the gun type cards have. Took a few minutes to look this up. That actually is a card misprint. There will actually be a FAQ out, if it is not already, talking about this card and how it actually should say to use 1 ammo, then fight, so forth and so on. But this does allow us the opportunity to treat this card as a potential beginner's card, as maybe a easy and a normal mode where you can use it as is, as written, as easy, basically giving you infinite ammo, or in the corrected version with the expend 1 ammo. The other thing that I just happened to notice was this extensive research card. What is to note of it? This price point. I do believe that is the highest costing card in the game. That is universal to a group of investigators. I do believe there is one weakness card for one of the other players that is a 10, but that is a very specific one investigator off card. Here, this would be the most expensive card for a group of investigators. With that being said, it is not something you really need to worry about too much, because looking at the flavor text, it talks about how you use the number of cards in your hand to reduce the cost of this card. So most likely you will never be paying this 10, and with this class you will probably have lots of cards in your hands. So in reality it's not that expensive a card, but at face value it is definitely the most expensive card that I know of. Well, that is everything for my spoiler-free unboxing. I hope this has helped you to determine if this Mythos pack is something you would be interested in getting for yourself. And now, let's get on to the rest of the cards and our spoiler-filled unboxing of Dark Side of the Moon. Like with all of the Mythos packs, we have our rules card, we have Mythos cards, Axe, Agenda, and then of course locations cards. Here for our spoiler unboxing, we will start with the rules card. Just in case you haven't clicked off yet, but you did want to stop, this really is not that big of a deal. So before we get into the hardcore spoilers, this is always a good one to show up first. There's our stuff for easy, and then hard and expert. Next we'll get to they all have the same common back. Next we have our agenda cards. by our Act cards. You're right the first time. And then finally, our location cards. And finally, we have the full rules flip through so we can take a look at everything. This we have already seen with our spoiler-free section. Again, this was the other part, and as we can see, it immediately goes into that do not read category, which again is slightly annoying, you know, with the way that they've done that if you are trying to say spoiler-free, it is kind of hard to not pay attention to that. And then of course with this paper it is extremely hard to keep the glare away. But there we have it, and then of course the to be continued within the next Mythos pack, which would of course be 5 for this one, not 4. Well, that is everything for Dark Side of the Moon, the third Mythos pack for the Dream Eaters campaign for the Arkham Horror, the card game. I hope this unboxing has helped you to determine if this Mythos pack is something you would be interested in. Though most likely if you have gotten this far within the Dream Eaters campaign, it's an almost guarantee. Well, until next time guys, I'll see you later.